Congratulations, you've unlocked All Apologies, a show about apology tours and demanding satisfaction. I'm your host, Trucker Andy, and with me, as always, is your co-host.
He's a fucking Chad.
It's Joe Sixpack. Joe, what's going on?
Hey.
How you doing?
Andy, I think today we're doing a bit of a roundup, right?
Bit.
One of the things that I stumbled across yesterday is like Wendy Williams,
How you doing?
Yeah.
There's a whole thing going on with her right now where they're like, she was under guardianship for like her like alcoholism, or they like called it dementia and things like that. And like, she's almost like TMZ specifically was putting out content about how she's essentially almost fully recovered. She's sober, completely lucid, but she's still essentially locked up in like a hospital for like via her guardianship, and like due to issues that she's recovered from, but still under like Britney style lock and key. And other people would conspiratorially talk about how Diddy had cue the Diddy watch, that he took part, or like
the D, the Y, the G, the I, the D is Diddy. Hold up, is Diddy.
You can't
basically she called out Beyonce for having a fake baby bump in like an Australian talk show, like when Beyonce sits, like her belly like folds in and it looks fake, and Wendy Williams is like, what the fuck is this? And like put her on blast publicly. And then all of a sudden she's like mentally incapacitated, passing out on her own show and being put into guardianship. And people say that that's Jay-Z and Beyonce and Diddy, like this whole Illuminati thing. She was a victim of that. Like what happened to her, what happened to Jamie Foxx. There's probably other people, like just fucking people who are dead now. But that's the update on Wendy Williams that I just saw, allegedly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to get everybody's take on this. So allow me to introduce our guests onto the show. Today we're lucky enough to have WATP review girl and just all around podcasting sensation, Annie, on the show. Welcome, Annie.
Oh, hello. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, Annie, good to see you again.
Are you aware at all of the Richard Simmons-esque shenanigans going on with Wendy Williams?
No, I get most of my drama news through stuff like this and through YouTubers. So whenever I hear about something like this, it's usually through stuff like this.
Well, speaking of people that would be concerned about their autonomy being taken away because of alcoholism, I'd like to welcome to the show New Girl. Hey.
Hi. I have seen the Wendy stuff, Joe, the video of her like with her arms up against the window while she's being interviewed on the phone. Yeah.
Right. Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. I hope there's more to come with that. And I'm like, so we covered Wendy Williams at one point on the show, like as a full-on topic, and she emerged as like a hero of mine. I've said, like, if it was up to me, our show would be like 1-to-1, like a white guy version of the Wendy Williams show. I think it was great. I loved it.
That exists. It's Jerry O'Connell. Remember when he was filling in for Wendy Williams? It was hilarious.
Yeah. The Jerry O show. Yes, I'm well aware.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you brought up that update, because there are a lot of greatest hits updates happening currently right now. And we just did the Grammy episode that was very Kanye heavy. And one of the things that Kanye was tweeting was that he had dominion over his wife, Bianca, right? You remember that? Did we play that one?
And you know I'm all here for the Kanye.
I know you are. But so he's forcing her to parade around nude on the red carpet at the Grammys and tweeting that he has dominion over his wife, and she's going to do everything that he says for till the end of time. Cut to 2 weeks later, and this is going down. Oh, fuck.
You are not playing Perez Hilton as any kind of journalistic factor, yeah.
What's the drop? What was the Perez drop? I always loved it on WATP. God damn it, I can't remember what it was.
All right, what the fuck?
Breaking news: anti-Semitic Kanye West and his wife Bianca Censori have called it quits. They're over after a very long, for Kanye, 2 years. And her family must be thrilled for multiple reasons. One, Bianca is currently in Australia, where she's from, spending time with her family. According to TMZ, the split is fairly recent, just a few weeks ago, and as of right now, we don't know an official cause for the split, but hello, we know Kanye breaking.
Oh, man makes my skin crawl.
Well, no, he sucks, but I like featuring him because he's not funny. Like, he's not funny in any single way, so he's not gonna make us look bad. But
That's the first time I've ever seen him on screen. That was not
Really?
appealing.
Oh, God.
Shocking, because he looks a lot better than he used to. He used to
Well,
look like
I saw
complete shit.
Kanye and his wife. My friend made a funny joke. He said censor is half of her name, and she's always naked. But I saw them at an after party, and she was like smiling and hugging him and all over him, and like I don't know, they looked like they was in this really nice, loving relationship. Like she seemed really into him, like just because I don't know, it was very contrast to what you saw on the red carpet, where she looks all like not into it. She was at the club with her ass hanging out, dancing, grinding away, loving her life with him. So,
By the way, last time we covered this, Ed's like, I can't find a good picture of her. Like, I'm like, she's hotter than some of these things like show her to be. And Ed's like, oh, I can't find any of that. Here she is. Yeah.
yeah, this was her like when they first got together though. She doesn't look as good now as when
Right,
they first.
and that was my point, was that she's looked better in the past. Yeah.
Well, she's like super intelligent and had a really incredible job and stuff, didn't she? She was like an amazing person. Yeah, I think I don't know if it was like architecture or something like that.
Was that right?
Yeah, she was amazing.
So is Brad Pitt. That's what stupid people say that they're into to sound
No,
smart.
but she actually like had a real job and had like a life and stuff. So that's why everyone's worried about him.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I assumed that she was just a step down from Kim Kardashian. That's what she looks like, just like trying to recapture.
Sorry,
except she's not nearly as famous.
On what level is the Kardashians? I don't know where the step down from that. It is the bottom of the barrel being a Kardashian.
Lower than that. a similar ass.
Like, what wasn't he like a sex addict, and he's just like shouting out like porn stars and stuff in his songs and stuff like that. So his hierarchy of women is maybe a little warped as far as like, anal queen, porn star, Kim Kardashian, Australian architect enthusiast, whatever it is.
I've got a feeling that Kanye's probably not risen to the occasion for a long time. I think his mind's focused on a lot of other places.
He requires Cialis just to jerk off to porn.
We never even covered the last time we covered him, things were so wild on Alex Jones and what was going on with Diddy and Jay-Z and all that shit, that we never even covered her. Like, I think they were on a gondola in Italy or something, and she was just openly blowing him in public, and we never even talked about it.
She had her head. He had his pants down, and she had like her head on his lap. She wasn't even blowing him. She just had her head on it. It's very, it was really weird.
I have no affirming drops on here, like for like a way to go dudes or anything like that.
Oh,
all of my drops are like
divine.
She's just resting her head on a pantsless, soft-cocked Kanye on a gondola. I don't know what that's all about, but
yeah, I only have
called romance, Andy.
But that's the opposite.
It's called a whirlwind romance. I don't know anything about that. That's what I got my wife for Valentine's Day.
Soft cock.
All right. And In addition to that update, we have a couple more. I think. All right, this one Joe sent to me, and post Super Bowl, loser Patrick Mahomes' dad was milling around Bourbon Street, and who doesn't emerge from a bar like a bridge troll, but John Rocker, who we have also covered on this show.
Looking
And-
fucking frighteningly enormous, by the way.
Yeah, he still looks terrifying, and I guess it's come to light that they're going to try and have some kind of Jake Paul
Oh, is this stage?
exhibition match. Yeah, but if you look at these two guys, obviously Patrick Mahomes Sr. is a lot older. I mean, John Rocker's old too, but John Rocker is fucking enormous. Just look at this video and
This
realize
cannot be a fight.
no, this should not happen for Patrick Mahomes Sr.'s sake.
Yeah.
Need the audio, but
Yeah, we don't.
John Rocker, I don't know how you would even pick this guy out and be like, oh, there's Patrick Mahomes' dad. I wouldn't know him to look at him. He just looks like another homeless guy on Bourbon Street. But
I don't know football. Which one's which?
all right, the
I
big
guess
guy
you
in the
have to
gray is a pitcher for the Braves, a former pitcher for the Atlanta Braves.
Notorious
John Rocker,
racist.
famously racist. We covered him early on in the podcast. And then that's a black man, and he hates all black people. I don't know, but that's
Do they both play baseball?
Is that Mahomes Sr.'s claim to fame? He's a ball player.
I don't
Which is
think
the
that
dad? The dad's the one in the
Red.
t-shirt.
red.
The
hoodie.
red hoodie is Super Bowl loser Patrick Mahomes' dad.
Oh, he looks really young.
Black don't crack, new girl.
And
That's what
yeah,
they
you
say.
can see. So yeah, and then the white guy is a baseball pitcher, like who was notoriously kind of almost drummed out of the public eye due to what would probably be today be considered benign comments, but at the time were like, beyond the pale. But he's a
John
complete
Rocker?
asshole. Yeah,
Wait,
John
so
Rocker.
he played baseball?
The huge
baseball
white
player?
guy was a pitcher in baseball.
That's what baseball players look like.
In the States.
No,
on
he's
steroids.
No, he's all roided out now. Like that, like he's twice as big as he was when he was a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's the McGuire Sosa days of juicing versions of ball players.
Look at you now.
Yeah. So that was interesting that was also popping off. And then one other quick update. I think this is in my I got to switch my file. And Blake Lively is back, and things are not going well for.
I used to really like her as well. Do you know the worst thing for me is I love reading, and this film, I've not watched it, I refuse to. But the book was really amazing. It was like a beautiful, well-written, incredible book. So I was so excited that it was going to be a film. But yeah, it's very distraughting for someone who likes the book.
I'm glad I had to double check and get this right. Patrick Mahomes Sr. was a pitcher as well, so that's why they know each other. So
It's just as important to say, okay.
Sorry,
he was passed around like a Neil Gaiman woman.
All right. So what's going on here is that I mean, I got this from Ben Shapiro's show. Apparently, Ben Shapiro's show is
incredible.
Deteriorated into him just talking about movies that he doesn't like. He was, I mean, justifiably, he was shitting on the new Amy Schumer movie where she pretends to be pregnant and she looks fucking terrible. But he was also shitting on Wolverine and Deadpool, which he watched on a plane, and which is fine. It's not for everybody if you don't know everything that's going on in that. But he started out by saying that the lawsuits that keep flying between Baldoni and Blake Lively are escalating, and this footage has now been dug up of her in this Forbes interview basically copping to everything that she was doing on the set of It Ends With Us.
It's just as important to say, okay, I believe in this, and that's why I'm standing up for it, and that's why I'm not being difficult. And then there are other moments to go like, am I the in the room? Like, what is happening here? I would show up on a set. I knew that they just wanted me to show up and look cute and stand on a little pink sticker where I'm supposed to go and say what I'm supposed to say. But I also knew that like that wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, in creating the character. And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that once they saw that I was able to offer that. And sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. Yet when I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled. So I think that for them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull because you're like,
Yeah.
you assert yourself into something that we didn't hire you to do. And so it was a really
sense of entitlement.
This is union shit, bitch. Stay in your lane.
Actor. Like I want to have more authorship.
She wants to steal jobs from other people there.
Right. I want credit. I want more credit. No, you were hired to be an actor in this, not
And I mean, don't get me wrong.
executive producer.
She's a well enough established actress, but she's not like peak top level where she can demand these kind of things.
No.
She's done well for herself, but you know, there's certain actors that you could expect that kind of thing from, like really well established actors who've done incredible, you know, art films. And yeah, but she does like cheesy chick films. So
Yeah. She certainly is. I just thought it was interesting that this is like what she does, and it's not a good look for her. So I guess we'll keep an eye on how that's going. But
that's interesting though to hear that clip because when we covered this initially, it's just like, oh yeah, she was like, and I would say, I think it sounded like given an executive producer credit after the fact, right? Not brought in for that reason, but she asserted herself in such a way where they were just like, fucking now we got to give her a fucking executive producer credit on this. And then when all these things emerge, she's just like, well, yeah, I was integral in this. It's just like, you were never supposed to be that. You were the eye candy of this and you came in pregnant or post-pregnancy. Like what? And now we have to fucking scramble to make sense of this. Put on these Carhartt overalls. That's hot.
Yeah. Meanwhile, she's leveraging her friendship with Taylor Swift and her husband's Hollywood clout to shoehorn a production credit into a movie that she got hired to be an actress in. So
yeah, I don't think any of this drama. It's more about her attitude and less about the whatever happened between her and the male lead. I think that's the side story. It's her being a complete and utter demon on set that's pissed everyone off, and she's going to end up with more people backing him now because she's made herself so difficult to work with.
Yeah,
he sucks too, though. But
it doesn't make his apology voicemail any less cringe. That was some of the corniest, worst beta shit I've ever heard. So fuck him as well.
He was bad.
Annie, you look like you have no fucking opinion about Blake Lively.
No, like you said, she's like a well-known actress, and I was like, yeah, I don't even really know who that is.
Well, I like chick flicks, so that's why in my world, like obviously it depends on the genre of films that you watch, doesn't it?
Yeah,
but you know, she's well established, you know.
Her claim to fame is Gossip Girl, but she's done a handful of other shitty movies, and her real claim to fame is that she's married to Ryan Reynolds. So, but I just had to feature that because that was new information, and we had just recently covered that, and it seems to be going just seesawing back and forth between who's the bigger piece of shit in Hollywood, and that's fascinating to me because I know they're all pieces of shit over there. And this whole main topic is sort of a roundup, catch up. Let's catch up with some old greatest hits dildos from the past, including Tana Mongeau, Joe, because we're covering Cody Ko, who is like a front runner in the whole Vine turned YouTube streamer landscape. Back when Vine was a thing, was probably when Cody Ko was best well known. Would you say that, Annie?
Yeah, right before Vine shut down, he was getting big on Vine, and when he transitioned to YouTube, he was one of the people that really took off. There was a handful of them, but out of the handful that got popular, he still probably is one of the front runners from that group. Like with over 5 million subscribers on his main channel, it's not anything to scoff about.
Yeah.
We've gotten away from this YouTuber like the decline of the YouTuber right now. Probably initially getting into it with Colleen Ballinger's fall, the Paul brothers, successfully transitioning out of it somehow. I don't know how, but they seem to be walking away from the explosion scot-free. But yeah,
from Sewer King that it's Illuminati Satanism.
Yeah, they were giving up the bungus.
Yeah.
But if you're not familiar with Sewer King, go watch more Sewer King. I love him.
It's worth mentioning that we're covering, and we have Annie on the show because she suggested this, and it's come up recently because Tana keeps bringing it up, basically. And after digging into this and learning about it, my main opinion is that almost everybody has a problem with this except Tana. She's kind of the one that's sort of just been like, oh yeah, this happened and it's not the worst thing that ever happened to me, but it's a thing. And everybody's like, oh my God, this is a gotcha moment on Cody Ko. And everybody refuses to shut the fuck up about it. But if you don't know anything about it, this is a quick roundup of what's going on. Sorry, guys.
I know now. I was 17 at the time.
Yep.
Cody Ko's fans are turning on him after Tana Mongeau dropped a bombshell allegation against him. Is Cody about to get canceled? During a June 2024 live show of Tana Mongeau's Canceled podcast, the controversial content creator revealed that Cody Ko hooked up with her when she was only 17 years old. Internet sleuths did the math and concluded that Cody would have been 25 at the time. The clip went viral on TikTok, and other content creators began discussing it, including the H3 podcast, who were shocked to see how so many people defended Cody against the allegations after they discussed them. Shortly after the clip went viral, she appeared on Trisha Paytas' podcast and backed up her claim, calling it a traumatic moment for her and saying she was inspired to talk about it more openly after seeing the outpouring of people not believing her because of who she is. Cody Ko has kept silent on the situation and continued to post content, but many of his fans are demanding answers, with some even claiming they won't watch him anymore unless he addresses the controversy.
I know now.
All right. So thanks whoever used AI to put that roundup together that I'm not crediting. No credits, but freebooting that roundup for what's going on. So Tana Mongeau is at the heart of all this. And it's funny because most people are just like, oh, this happened to Tana. I don't give a shit because I hate her. Isn't that right, Andy? People really just don't care.
Yeah, for the most part, when it the AI video says that when it was released on that live show, people made a big deal of it, and that's kind of true. But it was a very small group in a very small corner of the internet, and as far as I know, it didn't really blow up until another YouTuber called D'Angelo Wallace. He covered it on his channel in a video called "An Uncomfortable Conversation About Cody Ko." He just briefly covers the situation. He talks about the allegations. He brings up the evidence, and he just says, "Well, Cody, the situation's come to light, and you can say something about it or not." And he chose the nope. He literally just kind of left the internet after it kind of blew up. He stopped posting on his main channel and his alternate channel. He took a step back from his podcast, and at the time, his fiance was still uploading her podcast. And while his comment section was heavily moderated and things would be deleted, people were absolutely tearing her and him apart in his fiance's comment section because that's the only place that people could reach them on YouTube.
Yeah,
Instagram, it was comments were just being like, "What you raped this girl?" It's like, okay, well, that's a little bit of a step. Statutory sleeping with an underage girl, statutory rape as it's called, is not you being a pedophile, and it is not necessarily rape. If you hooked up with her and she agreed with it and consented, even though it's illegal or whatever, that's not really as big of a thing as it could have been. I think the core of the issue is the fact that Cody completely sidestepped the whole issue and said, I'm not saying anything about this.
I don't blame him. I think it's a nothing burger.
Well, and that's a good point. I'm not sure. I think this maybe occurred in Florida at the time. They were doing a lot of like content house shit. This is very close knit with like Jake Paul and Trisha Paytas and Jeff Witt or whatever, David Dobrik's buddy that got injured, and Dirty whoever that also was sexually assaulting women. So it was just kind of the thing that was happening down in Florida when all these people were at the height of their popularity. But I think it's worth noting when you're talking about statutory rape and everything that Tana is from Vegas, where the age of consent is 16, I believe. I looked it up. And maybe that's not what it is in Florida. But when you're saying that she was 17 at the time, maybe she wasn't exactly a virgin. Maybe she was meeting her hero, Cody Ko, and maybe she, in the Neil Gaiman-esque game of I'll show you mine if you show me yours, kind of riding the coattails of Cody Ko. I don't think she was heartbroken to hook up with him.
I mean, she's only brought it up. How many years later has she even brought it up? So I don't think it was an issue. My take is, I reckon we all know at least a 17-year-old girl who's slept with a 25-year-old man, or a 25-year-old man who slept with a 17-year-old girl. I'm from England. The age of consent is 16 all over. When I was 17, I know full well I dated men in the 20s. And I'll tell you, my intellectual growth was probably at the same point, if not surpassing a man at 25 years old. For me personally, I don't think there's a massive gap between a 25-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl. And, it's not like he was 35. Then maybe I'd be like, it's a bit gross, but still, she's an adult. She consented. There was no, at any point in all this time, it could have been a thing. I think she said it as a passing comment, and somebody else has ran away with it, and she's gone, well, I'm going to get clout for this. This is going to get my name out. So no, it's a problem because other people have picked up on it.
Seems like this is a
story briefly shown in that AI clip, but it was like on a live stage show, and she didn't even mention him by name. She didn't say, clip. "Oh, I hooked up with Cody Ko." No, she mentioned somebody, and no, using their internet detective.
Let me stop you there. She does say him by name. She does say exactly what happened, and I have the clip, so we'll get to that. Not to interrupt you, but
no, I'd rather be corrected and not just be blabbering on nonsense.
I got to jump off. So sorry about this. I'm really you guys. Thanks for being here, because if this happened with just Andy and I, we'd have no show.
Go be a dad. Go do your dad.
Thanks for being here, everybody. And sorry, this is unprofessional of me, but
it was a pleasure. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I will look forward to watching this episode.
the show is better because of this. Goodbye.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
All right, take care.
So I'm guessing she needed more than a band.
Okay, oh, poor thing. Okay, well. All right. Well, where were we? Oh, I was just gonna make the point that I'm sure that a 17-year-old new girl could outsmart a 48-year-old trucker Andy. So that all tracks.
The 17-year-old new girl had a child, so I don't think I can make any judgment on this.
Oh, it was that young, huh? 17. Wow.
I know.
Best thing that ever happened to you.
Yes,
is my understanding.
He makes a great cup of tea now.
So, Annie, you said I see down there your screen share. You have pulled up that clip of the guy that sort of is making this a thing currently. Is there anything we want to play from that as we set the table for the allegations and why people are talking about this right now? Or should we just sort of go into the history of Cody Ko?
D'Angelo's video, while informative and shed light on the situation, for the most part is just a recap of everything that he investigated based on what he found, and is kind of painting it in a light where he, like I said, framing Cody Ko saying, "Hey, respond to this, or you're going to get some backlash from not saying anything about this." What is your side of this story? Because this is what everyone is saying.
Yeah,
So to answer your question shortly, no, there's nothing we really need to pull from that video.
Does he have any connection to him? Like, has he got beef with him? Is he trying to take him down, or is he just like a completely outside a third party that just wants to make like content from it?
D'Angelo Wallace is a commentary YouTuber, and he makes like small little internet documentaries. And as far as I know, they've never met. They've never really crossed paths, other than they both work for YouTube. They don't really have any affiliations. So it's just something that D'Angelo Wallace found and investigated, and it was worthy of making a video about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of content is just deep dive content on scandals, people clipping and unpacking why people are pieces of shit. But I did look at Wiki for some context about Cody, and it says he began making Vines, garnering almost 2 million followers on Vine before the social media platform closed in 2017, at which point he shifted to uploading commentary and reaction videos about other Vine streamers that moved on to YouTube that weren't necessarily very good at it. And from there, he started a show with Noel Miller, and that became popular on a reaction show called That's Cringe, where they went on to start a show called Tiny Meat Gang, which became a rap duo that we covered for our $10 tier over on Patreon. We watched Broke Bitch and unpacked the quality or lack thereof of Tiny Meat Gang's musical prowess. Annie, what did you think of Broke Bitch?
Most of their music is just like cringy YouTuber, like comedy crap music. And for the most part, if you're not a fan of the person making that type of music, you're going to just be like, this is absolute dog shit. I fucking can't stand this. It sucks.
Yeah.
I used to be a big fan of Cody Ko, and I'm still a fan of Noel Miller, his co-host and partner. Their music, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of it, but their podcast, whenever they started uploading that, I was a big fan of it. And it's one of the early podcasts that I got into back when I was working a couple years ago. I just needed something to listen to, and his podcast I started listening to because I liked him and I liked his friend. So they had good chemistry. And I want to say for 100, almost 200 episodes, it was good. It was just, an audio podcast, them making stupid jokes, doing bits, whatever. Then they upgraded their set, and they got like video screens, and they switched their format kind of to being more of a commentary show while they're watching videos. And a podcast called Who Are These Podcasts does a similar kind of thing. They bring in clips and they comment on it, but they always do a good job of trying to make sure that you are aware of what's being played on screen, especially if it's audio only and people are like fighting and stuff. They explain, hey, okay, this guy's coming in from this side, and you can see him pointing at the other guy on the side of the screen. Whenever Tiny Meat Gang would do their show, it completely ruined the format, I think, because I could no longer listen to it while at work because they'd be playing a TikTok, and I'd be like, okay, I don't know what that TikTok was about. And then they go on talking about it for 10, 15 minutes, and I have no context to anything that they're watching. So I fell off the map, especially after an episode where Noel comes in and he's being the Heath Ledger's Joker. And it's a really good skit, but it's completely visual, and I have no idea what's going on. And it's 10 minutes of the beginning of the show, and I'm like, I can't listen to the show anymore. I can't. I have to watch it, and I don't want to sit around watching 3 hours of a podcast.
Right. That's a good point. Who are these podcasts? Never heard of it. But in 2019, Jake Paul was criticizing Cody for cyberbullying in his commentary videos. So that was kind of a beef. Jake Paul and Cody Ko were beefing, and Jake Paul was remarked to say,
"We're all growing and learning every single day."
I hate Jake Paul, and I guess that puts me in Cody Ko's corner at this point, but I know that we're going to realize that maybe he's not all he's cracked up to be most recently, though, in 2021, Cody and Noel Miller expanded their podcast into Tiny Meat Gang Studios. And then now that all this stuff is coming out, Cody Ko has just stepped away from having anything to do with the company. It's all turned over to Miller, and they're distancing themselves from each other. But Annie, you were saying that the whole problem with Noel Miller right now is that he refuses to acknowledge anything that's happening with this guy.
That's my perspective as a fan and somebody who still enjoys the things that Noel Miller does. In the post that was posted behind a paywall on their Patreon, it doesn't even really acknowledge the issue. It just says that Cody is going to take a step back from the day-to-day operations. Not even that he's fully removed from the company or that he was fired from the studio. Nothing like that. Just being like, okay, well, we're just not going to have his face on our content anymore. He's not going to be on the show anymore. And the Tiny Meat Gang podcast is still going, but it's hosted only by Noel now. And he hasn't, other than a very lackluster statement saying where he doesn't really have the right to speak on it or whatever. I don't think that's a very good way of acknowledging the situation. And as a show that's about apologies, it would be nice to hear any sort of apology about handling of the situation. I don't even care that Cody slept with Tana when she was 17. I don't care about that. That it doesn't seem like either of them are hurt about it. Tana's fine, Cody's fine. The world moves on. It's just the fact that they swept it under the rug and you're like, okay, that didn't happen.
I think either you don't acknowledge it or you acknowledge it. You can't like semi-acknowledge it. And I wouldn't blame anyone for not acknowledging it, because you soon as you start to explain things, you're adding fuel to the fire. Like if you've got a win excuse for it, it's because you think you've done something wrong. So I can kind of get, but yeah, they shouldn't be like semi-posting like, oh, well, yeah, they're just deceiving their audience. Either don't say anything or explain properly.
Right. And I just want to give some context basically to what Cody is all about. We played the music video, so please go check that out on Patreon if you want to see that. But when we talk about what was going on Vine, and it's still kind of become what is all over TikTok and Instagram Reels, this dumb shit where the one person is playing two parts and talking to themselves, that is so played out now. But back in the day, that's what Cody Ko was up to. This is, the heyday of this horse shit. Does anybody think that shit is funny? I mean, I guess there's a funny way to do it.
14-year-olds think that's funny. Like kids think it's funny.
To me, it just looks like somebody with no friends talking to themselves. I don't know why anybody would think that conceiving something like that is a good idea, unless what you're writing is funny. That's the only way to make that interesting, is if what you're saying is funny. I think I don't know. He probably thought it was funny when he.
I mean, the lack of effort to even change his appearance at all. That's what annoys me the most. Like, at least some people put like a tea towel on the head so it looks like the mum or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, just a little bit more effort, just go a long way.
Yeah,
I would agree with you. Except I actually know the context to a lot of his vines. He was on the way to work, so he was just like, okay, well, I'm caught behind this car. I'm gonna shoot a fucking vine real quick. And you don't have a lot of options for costume changing while you're in traffic. I'm just saying,
No, yeah, I get it, yeah.
All right. Like we said, this heavily revolves around his working and romantic relationship with Tana Mongeau. And we already brought up the fact that she brought this she did this by bringing it up on stage live at a live recording of Canceled. And this is the clip of that incident. So I need to show this so everybody knows that this is only happening because Tana made it happen. And that's going to become relevant later. I mean, that's the smoking gun that everybody's talking about.
What's the smallest dick you ever had sex with? Oh my god, no one look at me. Cody Ko.
No, it's cut off again.
Yeah, it's like when they start screaming, it just like peaks it or something.
Oh, really? Okay. But you heard her, they say, what's the smallest dick you ever had sex with?
Mhm.
And she says, Cody Ko.
Oh, I think
And
that's so tacky to say it. It's so
Yeah.
tacky, isn't it? Like, there's no need.
Oh, you don't want to name drop somebody, the smallest dick you ever had sex with right now? Because that would be good for my show. Can you describe how small it was at least?
I do.
Do
My
you have a
research,
picture of
but
it we can look at right now on stage in front of everyone?
How micro was the micro penis? So at the end of that, she says, I was 17, whatever, or something like that. And that's why and this was clearly the Brooke Schofield incarnation of the show. That's Brooke standing on stage, forcing her to say that. Well, not forcing her. She could have just brushed it off and not thrown Cody Ko under the bus publicly
Sure.
like that. But so she did that to a room full of people. So she would, if she didn't want it to be brought up, she wouldn't have said anything. And now everybody is retroactively going through the receipts and trying to figure out, where, I mean, you don't even have to. She said I was 17 there. And in California, wherever they are, the age of consent is 18. And I don't know what it is in Florida where this probably happened. We don't have to do the homework. No fact checking, but I would, knowing Florida, I would say that it's probably lower than 18. So it probably wasn't illegal, but that's why I established
No,
earlier.
It's
It is 18.
Correct, check.
Oh,
Yeah,
was.
it is.
But
that
we
could
did-
have been, that could be recently. That, I mean, how many years ago did this happen? Because these laws change.
That's true.
That's a good question too.
But it is kind of why I brought up at the beginning of the show that Vegas, where Tana's from, it's 16, and she probably wasn't a virgin when she hooked up with Cody Ko. Even though, whatever, it doesn't. That's neither here nor there, except that maybe she was experienced and it wasn't a big deal to her. Which is my whole point: is that everybody's making a big deal about this, except Tana, and she is just getting tired of people throwing it in her face. And we have clips about that, so we'll get to that. But
To be fair, she has just body shamed him as well. Imagine if it was him on stage and there was like, "What's the loosest vagina you've ever had?" And he said, "Her."
Yeah.
And you can't say that to someone. She's just like body shamed him to millions of people.
yeah, guys don't like that when you tell everyone they have a small cock. Trust me, I know. No, but I want to point out that Tana is not a great person. I think everybody knows that. And that's why when this first started coming out, people were just like, I don't give a shit. Specifically, this incarnation of the show where it was Brooke. And we already did the episode about Brooke Schofield, who got canceled off of a show called Canceled because of racist tweets that Tana then turned around and said, "Oh, you're the world's biggest piece of shit for saying racist shit like that." And I just realized that there's actual evidence of Tana being a racist piece of shit. So I have to I have to highlight that, of course, so that just for the context of it all.
You know, you're stupid story.
You fucking. Growing up in Vegas, everybody said those words, and I didn't even know that they were considered racist at all. They were in rap songs, and I totally thought it just meant like homie or like friend.
Oh wow.
Okay, sure.
I mean, everybody knows that that's what all the plantation owners used to call the slaves was homie and friend. That's what that means, right? Not like anybody ever learned anything in fifth grade about the meaning of the word. Unbelievable. I thought it just meant, that you like rap music. That's what she said. You fucking kidding? So I just had to play that to make sure that the full context of her quality of character is represented as the accuser of another guy, that she was actively like clout chasing and coattail riding and was probably throwing herself at. Can we agree on that at least, that it probably that Cody Ko didn't have to do much convincing of Tana, especially
women have been sleeping the way to the top for as long as it goes. Since women could work with him sleeping our way to the top, it's not like a revolution, is it?
Yeah.
Not to victim blame, but Tana has always seemed like she is the type to seek attention and stuff like that. I mean, TanaCon was a huge fumble because she wanted to make a convention about herself. It seems completely within character that she's like, oh, hold on, wait, Cody's into me? Hold on, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's most 17-year-old girls though, like especially if they're someone who puts themselves out there on social media and online and stuff. There's a reason people do that, because they like the attention. So yeah, she's probably very upfront with what she wants.
And another Vine star is going to corroborate this story, which is, again, this is more smoking gun evidence that everybody is running to insist that this is all real. Annie, do you know who Gabby Hanna is? Like when we talk about Vine stars turned streamers.
Not specifically. I know her by name. I'm familiar with her kind of adjacently. I'm pretty sure I know what you're about to bring up. So,
okay.
Yeah, Gabby Hanna is another person kind of adjacent to Tana in the sphere.
Yeah, the Cody Ko and David Dobrik and Jake Paul and Trisha Paytas, like these people are all collabing with each other and getting hammered in content houses and mukbanging and real banging each other. And this is Gabby Hanna basically word for word describing, without naming Cody, she is recounting the incident. So it's relevant in that regard.
One time I told a guy, I saw him making out with a girl at a party who was underage, and I pulled him aside and I was like, hey man, you probably don't know, I know she like looks a little older, she's underage, watch it. And he was like, oh my God, thank you for telling me. And then he turned that.
There was a situation with Gabby Hanna at a Playlist Live where she pulled him aside and told him like, yo, she's 17. And then we still went and hooked up. And I can look at that and be like, why the fuck were you doing that? But there isn't a part of me, at least at 25 now. I mean, I look back and I would never do anything like that. So I'm like, what the fuck was wrong with you?
Well, yeah, because cancel culture has massively evolved and stuff like that. And it's not nearly as explosive as it was back in 2017 or whenever this happened.
The use of underage, especially in the first clip, they're using that in a way that makes, when you go, oh, she's underage, it sounds like you're warning that she's 14, 15 years old. Like the way she's saying it is to make it using certain words instead of going, oh, you know, she's 17. No, she's underage. That makes it seem way more predatory and a lot worse than what it actually is by not specifically saying, oh, you know, she's 17. Like,
yeah,
twisting it.
Right. It does make the term statutory rape sound a lot worse when you say that a 17-year-old got, like, that shouldn't have been having sex, got statutory raped, when you don't say that the person that statutory raped them was less than a year older, like they're 18 and she was 17, and it sounds really bad on paper, but in reality it's like, oh, they were 9 months apart. They're both kids. It doesn't really, it's not as bad as it sounds.
She's old
when
enough
you
to
say it that way.
Travel from Vegas to Florida to go to a content house and have a party. If you're old enough to be traveling across country and your parents out there, which I'm assuming that they're not at this party, to be doing this, you must be of, some kind of grown age to be consenting in this kind of activity. Because I've got a teenage son and I wouldn't let him travel that far and go to a party and, because he's a child. So, when he's not a child, he then can travel. I don't blame him for assuming that this tall blonde with big tits at a content house miles away from home is above, the age to consent of sex.
That's the should be the title of Tana's book. I traveled all this way for this because she's living in a house with Jake Paul at one point. Listening, they break up. She's still stuck living there. He's banging anyone and everyone through the wall, and she has to listen to it. This is just what she does, right?
And do you know what? More power to her. If that's what she wants to do, is be a woman who goes and sleeps with who she wants to sleep with. And that's how, you know what? Props to you, darling. Like, I'm not a prude. Like, I have no issue with her sleeping with whoever she wants, as many people as she wants. But, you can't take it out of context and then make yourself a victim because that's what you do.
Yeah. And to her credit, I feel like everyone is doing that except her. So
yeah, it doesn't seem like she really cares about the situation. She brought it up and then she let it go, and everybody else has grasped up onto it, and people have blown it up and made big exposés about this guy who just hooked up with a girl at a party.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that she doesn't care that it happened or that she doesn't have feelings one way or another about Cody Ko, but she's just not making as big of a deal about it.
I feel like she could probably shut it down, though. If she came out, she could probably shut it down. But like, listen, I consented to this. This was something I wanted to do. I enjoyed myself. It is what it is. Don't ruin this guy's career because I fucked him when I was 17 years old. She probably likes the fact that everybody else is fighting it for her. And she can sit back and just be like, well, I'm not trying to ruin his career. I'm not trying to take anything from him. Everybody else is talking about there. It's smart. It's what she's doing is really smart, to be fair. Like,
exactly, because a lot of people we try and make things funny on this show, and obviously, who are these podcasts? We're leaning into the humor of it all, but people who aren't funny are here for the drama, and we saw this with Colleen Ballinger and that Adam McIntyre kid who was also all over this. The scandal of it and the drama of it is the content for the show. And Tana isn't necessarily funny. She can dress up, she can do her hair and dress up and be like something to look at. I mean, not necessarily next to Brooke Schofield, but the only other thing that she has is this drama. So obviously she's going to try and make it, last as long as she can. But you're going to see here, this is Jeff FM. This is that Jeff I can't remember. I always want to say Witwicky. That's the kid from Transformers. But this is the Jeff kid that almost died in the David Dobrik stunt. And like I said, it was so incestuous in the content houses. Now he just has this talk show where he has boring people. He's boring. He has boring people on his show, but they're talking about the wildfires. And I guess Cody Ko rented a fire truck and was driving around LA in a fake fire truck. I don't know, some fucking lame bit, but this is her bringing it up and addressing Cody. And again, people that are covering this are like, oh, this is damning. She's saying that it really happened here, but this is a bit of that conversation that they had.
Did you see someone rented a fake fire truck and went into the Palisades with it to try to commit arson?
Cody.
It was Cody.
They say a lot of the fires were just from people just going nuts, lighting them.
Yeah.
Because they were all over the place, random spots.
The one in Studio City was like 5 of them were.
Who owns a flamethrower that we know?
I'm just saying.
There you go. That's him. He little too much brush, and he was like, all right, I'll just get in shape and post the vlog.
Yeah.
That'll
It's so crazy.
them.
And going to the 7 wonders of the world, I've been on like 19 tangents about it already, but it's like,
oh, have you?
Yeah.
I haven't really talked about it. I was just curious.
I'm going to start catching allegations like you. They're going to be like, she won't stop milking this. It's like not even my drama.
My only thing I said was like, why wasn't Todd in the vlog? Like all that shit, he cursed you out.
Yeah.
He did all this shit to back him up, and he didn't even have an appearance in the seven wonders of the world.
I know. Did you see someone rented a fake fire?
All right. So the other thing they're talking about there is Dobrik. They're kind of comparing and contrasting each other's current drama with their past drama, her being sexually assaulted by Cody Ko and Jeff being literally assaulted by David Dobrik. And she said right there, like, how people are just like, how long is she going to milk this for? Because she's back in the conversation because of it, right? So she's liking it because of that. But in the meantime, maybe not the best thing to champion, right?
Seems like a really controversial thing to say. Like, listen, if he's gone out there with a fire truck, that's a dick move in light of what was happening. But for them to be like, oh, well, maybe he was setting fires. Who do we know who has a flamethrower? That seems like a really on the line kind of accusation to me.
Yeah. I'm not sure
if as a joke. It's like, okay, we're accusing you maybe possibly of a crime.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people are being accused of arson in California right now.
There are dumb people that will hear that and they'll go, did you hear that he did this? Because they said it on this podcast. And like, people will just believe that shit.
Right. And I think it's it's his whole format is like shitting on David Dobrik. I think there might be when they say who has a flamethrower, I think it's probably Dobrik. But again, it's all they have. People only know who Jeff is because of Dobrik.
He's drinking Prime. That is all I need to know about this guy.
Yeah, exactly. Say no more. You're a fucking.
Is he drinking it or is it a product placement? Because it looks.
I think he's got
still.
3 drinks in front of it. I can't say that actually. I can't say that. I've got 2 in front of me.
All right, this is just a little more about it.
He'd even have an appearance in the seven wonders of the world.
I know. Zayn and Heath.
I just wish he was a little like. I'm happy that he's working on himself.
Seriously, come on. Fuck you. Fuck you, YouTube. Never again, YouTube clips.
He'd even have an appearance in the seven wonders of the world.
I know. Are you? You're genuinely happy that he's working on himself? I'm not. I almost wish his.
I could have never seen him have that type of change in his head. I know he has good genetics. His dad does like Ironman and stuff like that. So I know it's possible for him. You know, you're a young guy in your prime and you have money and no job and you have all the resources in the world.
All right. We don't need to watch a lot of this, but I only wanted to bring that up because this is what these guys that are sex pests that get the spotlight put on them, they get caught, they get shamed off the internet, they go away. And then what David Dobrik did was say, I have all the money and resources in the world, but nobody wants to see or hear from me at all. So what's left to do except hit the gym? And he's gone through this physical transformation that a lot of people were talking about. And Cody Ko seems to be taking that blueprint and saying, this is what I'm going to do. Because the thing, when you type Cody Ko apology into the internet machine, it comes up with this video where he's talking about the training that he's going to do so that he can run a marathon or something like that and have a Dobrik-esque transformation.
And to your point, yes, I believe he's leaning heavily into his now fitness stuff because before he went off the internet, he started a spin-off series of his main stuff where he focused on working out and his journey to do Ironmans and marathons and stuff like that. And I felt like that was one of the only bits of his community that didn't just like turn on him immediately because they weren't the internet content pilled people. They're like, I just want to watch the guy like work out and maybe I can get some tips on how to work out and better myself.
He can find himself
when he comes back. That's the stuff he's now leaning into.
He can find himself a whole new community doing that because the people who watch that kind of stuff aren't interested in this internet drama stuff. So yeah, reinvented himself in a new area.
Yeah. So to that point, I mean, New Girl, have you seen this? This is David Dobrik's transformation. It's a Kumail Nanjiani type of, but it's like this. He was a little pud with a lot of money, and now people were interested in watching him give away Lambos and prizes to random people on the street. That was this whole Mr. Beast type of thing. And then when nobody wanted to hear from him anymore, and you got nothing but time on your hands, what are you supposed to do in YouTube prison except lift a lot of weights? I mean, that's what people do when they're in jail, right?
He looks like a douchebag.
Yeah, he looks like. Who would you rather fuck, the guy on the left or the guy on the right?
Oh, guy on the left, 100%.
Looks a lot more fun, and people don't hate his guts.
I could beat the guy on the left in a fight, so I'll pick him.
Yeah, fight. I have to consider who I would be able to fight off once I want them to go home. And I just wanted to feature that because we'll get into at the end. We'll play Cody talking about his fitness journey. But let's hear more from Tana. This is her on Canceled with her new co-host that is not Brooke Schofield. So already a bad move. You don't have Brooke anymore. Shame on you. Especially after we played that clip of you screaming the N-word into your phone. So how dare you call her out, kick her off your show.
So glad I did grow up with cell phones.
Yeah. But yeah, kids, don't document your racism. That's pro tip number 1. Don't write it down, don't record it, don't put it on the internet. But this is Tana. This is a super cut compilation of her addressing the whole thing where I'm sorry, go ahead. What
the hell is she wearing? She's in pajama shorts and a vest and a hat. She looks like she's on a casting couch. She looks like she's on a casting couch.
That's what you wore to the pub last week. You know, you you rock that look. Okay, but this I keep saying that everyone has a problem with this except her. This is the montage that is going to highlight that. Let me play this to bump it.
Need a montage. Simple little montage.
I hooked up with Cody Ko when I was 17 and he was 25. I grew up loving him. And I think you know what I mean? Like I was just like excited and a fan and and I understand that that's where now as a grown adult, you can say you were taken advantage of. I mean, I look back and I would never do anything like that. So I'm like, the fuck was wrong with you?
Yeah.
But I don't associate or hold it with trauma because I am such a comparative person where I'm like, so many worse things have happened to me. The public's reaction to this has made me feel 10 different types of ways that I didn't feel before. Like I've seen so many comments of people like on some like, but what was she wearing shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On some like, well, it's Tana Mongeau. And isn't that crazy?
That's so fucked up.
Because I really like, you know how I feel towards it, but now seeing all of these people like not believe me and say, well, what if she's lying or she's this and she's that and she's dramatic? First of all, there's nothing, I would never lie about that.
If I had to do it all over again, I would do it the exact same way. It's basically what she's saying, right?
Mm-hmm. She sounds like she's saying she's being forced to feel like something bad happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very accurate. Yeah, that's what she said. She's like, I didn't feel any type of way. And then the internet said, well, girl, you were molested. And she's like, okay, I guess I feel like I was molested now.
Yeah. I like they just said there are so many worse things that have happened. It doesn't even register because it wasn't a bad thing that happened. It was a decision that you made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm glad you both are here to speak to that, because when a white guy says, oh, you know, it was fine, that doesn't ring the same bell that it does for basically somebody that another blonde young lady to say the same thing. So cheers to you guys for backing up Tana. Now, Annie, you brought up that Cody and Noel are just kind of like dancing around this. This is a clip where they kind of a roundabout way start addressing this. And like we said earlier, it's either address it or don't address it, but don't dance around it, because people want to know where you really stand with this. And you can't straddle the fence on sexual assault, because if you do that, it basically means that you're for it. So for Noel to not really either throw Cody under the bus and say, I don't support this, or not speak to it at all and try and wait for it to go away, basically he's just co-signing on this, right? Wouldn't you say?
That's kind of how I feel about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is their conversation where they're just like, oh, lots of people have done a lot worse, right? What he did isn't so bad because other people are.
I haven't actually seen this clip, so I'm
Oh,
fascinated.
okay. Yeah. It's like, hey, everybody remember Bill Cosby? Who'd you rather be stuck in an elevator with, Cody Ko or Bill Cosby as a woman?
I mean, Drake had enough to at least flirt with a 16-year-old and like date one. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, fucking yeah.
That shit.
Yeah, you got to straight up.
He publicly dated
a teenager
for like a while.
Took her to a baseball
16,
game.
what? Something like that?
Yeah, 17. He was like
publicly. And he was like 50 or something like that.
It was like his 40s, late 30s or something.
Okay, yeah.
Feeding her hot dogs
maybe
and shit.
For some reason, listening to like these boys who look about 13 talk about sexual stuff has absolutely no weight in the world at all. They look like children. It's strange to watch, but I don't. Do you know what? I don't blame them, because if it was my friend this had happened to, I would be sat here going, "Was it that bad?" I don't think it was bad, because she doesn't even think it's bad. So I can understand why people don't like them. Not like dissing him for doing it, but like I don't think it's that bad. So at least just speak your own truth about it.
If Tana doesn't have the cops beating your door down, then I would just be waiting for people to stop talking about it.
It's the same as when like white people have this like white savior thing where they want to be mad on behalf of black people and stuff like that. Like everyone's being mad on behalf of her, and she doesn't need everyone to be mad on her behalf. She's perfectly capable of, being outraged on her own. Everyone's feel like they're doing something. They makes them feel better about themselves to call him out.
Yeah, that's the whole thing that's happening over on our Patreon. Everybody go sign up just for $5 a month. You can follow the Neil Gaiman Master podcast, where all of the wokesters are trying to retroactively cancel Neil Gaiman for being into BDSM, and it's not working out for them. This whole podcast series is an embarrassment to everybody involved, and we are having a good time tearing it apart and shitting on those people and learning that Neil Gaiman is a pimp. But back to Tana. Okay, well, I mean that's basically the long and short of it. We saw that montage. She laid it all out. She laid out what she thought, and she wouldn't change anything. It got her where she is today, I think, is the big takeaway from this. And everybody that wants to continue to talk about this is wasting their breath, as far as I'm concerned. It's been decided by Tana, by the way. And Annie, did you have anything else before I get around to like wrapping this up? I have the Cody apology. It's not really even an apology, but he speaks to it recently, which is kind of why people are rehashing the past. But did you have anything else you wanted to make sure got brought up?
Just looking at my little notes over here, it looks like there's two different sort of apologies Cody has. He has one that he briefly brings up on his Cody Trains channel when he came back on December 23rd.
Yeah.
And then another little short where his wife is filming him in his front room. And it's not really an apology. It's kind of like a joke. He just makes a joke comment about the situation. So other than those two, which you have, no,
yeah.
It's to sum up my feelings on the situation. I don't care about the alleged crime or whatever that happened. It's just shitty the way they handled or lack of handling the situation at all. And the fact that you're going to remove yourself from your own business without giving a real explanation as to why is kind of just disingenuous to your fans who would have supported you if you would have just said, hey, look, this is what happened and these are the allegations against me. It happened. It sucks. I've apologized to her. I've reached out to her. Whatever. Any sort of apology would have been something. And as the show tagline, I demanded satisfaction from this, and still I feel like I haven't gotten anything from it. And until I do, I won't listen to Cody Ko stuff. I'm sorry.
Well, Tam didn't get any satisfaction with his small penis either, so
Good point. I guess that is my question to Annie and everybody else that is running around saying it's a problem. Well, like, what would make you feel better? What do you want to hear? What do you want to see happen? Do you want Cody Ko to fall even further than he already has? Does he need to be in jail? Does he need to publicly acknowledge it and like prostrate himself and walk through town with somebody ringing a bell, yelling shame at him? Is that going to make this all go away? Because it seems like Tana wants it to go away, and it seems like Cody wants it to go away. But this is the closest thing to an apology that we got from this guy, and that's why I brought up the David Dobrik transformation thing, because this is his playbook. This is him saying that he's going to get ripped and come back the way Dobrik did.
It's time. It's time to really commit to this. I'm gonna have to commit to this training schedule. I'm gonna have to commit to, potentially losing some weight so I can get faster. And the whole thing just scares me. But I want to vlog it. I want to vlog the whole process, just like I did for Ironman. Being creative, doing this type of thing, and putting it out there. It's just in my DNA. I need to do it, and so I'm gonna do it. Obviously, I understand I've been offline for months, haven't made videos for that whole time, and I also understand if your opinion of me has potentially changed over the last few months. I spent the first half of my career criticizing people and judging people online, so I don't begrudge your judgment of me by any means. I just think all I can do right now and moving forward is just try to be the best person I can be for myself and for my family, and just try to continue putting the best shit out there that I can. So that's what I'm going to do. And if you stick around to watch it, I very much appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, truly. And that's the plan. 3:30 marathon in March, hopefully. And you're going to see the process. So I will see you soon. And choo choo.
Hope not, but
I don't think that was. I can totally see how, like, as a fan, I think, like, I'm not really a fan of his. I can think of like some of my favorite podcasters and stuff, and if they just dropped off, I would be like felt let down and upset by it. And I think, like, he has done a disservice to his fans. But then, like, from an outsider's point of view, I don't think he could have said anything that wouldn't have made him look bad by talking about it. And he's a lot older now. He's, like you say, he's got a wife and a family, and I think he's probably done the best thing. As much as it's not fair to do to his fans, he's done the best thing for himself and just took himself out of the situation, decided to a new path to take, which is the fitness thing, and gone for it. So I like totally 100% get why he's done it and stand by it. I don't think he could have said anything that wouldn't have made him look bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, to most of his fans, loyal fans, maybe they would have stood by him, but in this day and age, so many people would have just turned on him like that. So I think he did the best thing for himself. I totally get why he just dropped off and let everything go.
Yeah, the worst thing that he said is, "This is my DNA. I have to do this." And what you're saying that you have to do is videotape yourself working out, like every douchebag in the gym, doing a set and then flexing in the mirror and putting it on their Instagram reel. That's not. Nobody wants that. Nobody is impressed by that. If you show me the after picture, don't show me how the sausage is made. And don't tell me that you have to do that because you have a passion for it.
Do like that, though. Lots of people do. There are so many content creators that make so much money from doing that. Like, people do like it. I don't like it. I think it's boring as shit. But there is a massive audience for that kind of stuff, and he's gripped onto it. Like, I've got friends who are dead into the fitness and are bodybuilders and all that stuff, and they love that kind of stuff. Transformation stuff is massive.
Yeah, but the end result is what's interesting, not the day-to-day grind. Like, working out is so it's not an instant gratification thing. It's really just like watching somebody who's not in shape try and do one more push-up than they did yesterday, which is it's like watching somebody do their job to me. I don't really I don't want to watch that kind of content. But the other kind of content that Cody is putting out, Annie, I see you have it pulled up there. This is people, he's seeing all the comments flood in from the internet. And like you said, he's just kind of holed up with his wife, and they're going to make this reaction video to the comments flooding in.
I've been reading a lot of mean comments about me online recently, and just to those people, I wanted to warn you that I've been working on some stuff.
Oh no!
Oh, I'm scared. Oh fuck.
Okay, so just fair warning. Fair warning.
I take it all back. Send him to jail. Send him to jail.
I've been reading a lot of mean comments about me online.
For fuck's sake. I was standing by him there, and that just blew back in my face, didn't it? That was ridiculous.
Cringe really does a lot of damage to people, and that's why even after, like, I thought the first little sort of apology, where he's like, I'm gonna focus on the future, I'm gonna try to get better, I've been away or whatever, but I'm gonna try to focus on what I think is the right thing to do. Even though that's not an apology, it's an acknowledgement of your hiccup and you're going to move on. And then you post this cringe shit where you're like, oh, I'm going to fight you guys on the internet. I'm going to give you like a bam, a roadhouse. Like what? Cool. You had me and then you lost me.
Got real stuttering John vibes, hasn't it?
I think the interesting thing about that is to bring up Stuttering John, to fall from grace, where we watched the broke bitch video where he's a fresh faced, he's got hair done, he's definitely slimmer. If he's talking about getting in shape, you could see that he is not in shape. His hair looks like shit. He looks like shit. And to see him being in a sponsored and produced music video looking like a Lonely Island video, to this, like, the flexibility is not there with those kicks, Cody. I'll say that. Get it, make yoga part of your routine, because that was just embarrassing.
I can imagine
every level.
He's probably going to go down the road of him and his girlfriend doing like, this is what we had for breakfast today, and doing like couple videos. He seems like he's going to end up going down that road and just being the ultimate cringe.
Yeah. And the other shortcut to keeping your career going that is to trick someone in Vegas that doesn't realize that you're a sex pest into letting you spin at 4:30 in the afternoon on a Wednesday at the Flamingo in Vegas, or whatever the fuck this is.
It's his legendary DJ set. This is what he was doing at the time of the allegations. He was in Vegas doing a set because he, I guess, got residency at this club. And so he just goes to Vegas to do that.
Well, I mean, he's no Pauly D from Jersey Shore. That guy's killing it. Paris Hilton can get away with that, but you could see nobody was fucking there. Nobody cares. Everybody wishes this guy would just go away. It's just one of those, put the fries in the bag, bro. You got to move on to something else. And that's the tragic tale of Cody Ko. I don't think anything's going to I don't think he's going to go to jail. I don't think anything's going to happen. I think
if it was going to happen, it would have been.
It would have already happened. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. He's come back. He's posting on his second channel, Cody and Co. He's doing his old reaction content. He's commenting on The Button, where people like do a dating show and they hit a button to get rid of their. That's what he does. Like, and it's just, I used to be into that content, but I'm just so not into it anymore, and especially not from him anymore.
Yeah, that reminds me of our Patreon idea, New Girl, of our reaction video to Naked Attraction.
Yeah, we need to get that done. Have you ever seen the show, Anna, Naked Attraction?
No, but I've heard of it. It sounds like it'd be fun.
Yeah, it is. It is horrific, but it's so funny. Oh, yeah, I definitely recommend. It's probably on YouTube somewhere. It's an English show. I definitely recommend watching it. It's yeah,
It's gonna be on my Patreon in about 1 month. So look for that coming up in the future, because I think I want to hear New Girl rating dicks on my Patreon. But I can't thank you guys enough. I can't thank Annie enough for bringing this to my attention, even though it seems like a nothing burger. I think it was a good topic because so many people that we've already covered were featured today. So it was kind of a greatest hits all coalescing into one story. So thank you, Annie, for finding this. Do you have anything that you'd like to plug at this time?
If you're interested in following me and what I'm up to, I do a video game review podcast and I stream regularly on YouTube. You can find it all at insanity.com. That's INSANNEITY.com.
Great. And New Girl, what are you up to these days?
oh, the same old. Everybody knows where they can find me. Just look for me on Twitter, and I'll be there, and I'll post out if I'm on any shows. So yeah.
Yeah. If you go follow New Girl it's New Girl 92, right?
It is, yeah.
Find that account, follow that, and she'll pop up a link on all the appearances that she likes to make. Pretty kind of scattershot randomly. You gotta
when I don't fall asleep, that's what it is. Like
yeah.
I was meant to stream the last 2 nights, but it started at midnight. And Friday night, I got so drunk I fell asleep with the laptop in my arms, with drill in my face. And then last night I just passed out. So I'm very bad at showing up for shows, but.
And before we get out of here, we do have to decide whether or not we forgive or reject these apologies. So what do we think? I mean, he didn't really apologize, but if he were, would you forgive him?
If he actually came out and said anything about the situation, yeah, I would forgive it. New Girl said that maybe he made the best option in not saying anything, but that's what I want. I just want some acknowledgement of it. Just, hey, I did something fucked up. I fucked up. That's it. That's all I want.
Mhm.
If he said it, I would forgive him.
Yeah.
I concur.
Please set my apology, baby.
Okay, Annie
I
gives
didn't care until he did that cringy kick video, and now send him to jail, lock him up, take the internet away. He doesn't deserve to be here anymore. Fuck
Yeah.
him.
I'm on board with that.
Fuck you!
Let's get the fuck out of here, Cody. I mean, it's I just don't like that you made me take Tana Mongeau's side. That's the worst thing, that in an argument I have to side with Tana Mongeau of all people. But I want to encourage everybody to please go follow us, All Apologies Podcast on Instagram. You can support the show for free in that way, but I really would appreciate it if, Joe's not here, for me to tell everybody that we hit 250 subscribers on YouTube. So we're halfway to still not being monetized, not monetized in any single way. So if you're listening to this and you could subscribe to our All Apologies YouTube channel, that would greatly help the show. But also, if you want to support the show financially, please go find us on Patreon. It's bit.ly/stay sorry. That'll take you right over to the Patreon, where for $5, you get the Master Neil Gaiman series that is on the tip of everyone's tongue. It's so much fun to shit on. And we have about 5 episodes over there as of this record, on top of all the other paywall stuff that we do there. And then there's a $10 tier where you get everything. That's $5 tier comes out Monday. Not to belabor this, but if you subscribe to $10, then you get it immediately when we record it on Sunday, plus some other little bonus content that we do in between the paywall stuff and the free stuff. So there's plenty to find over there on Patreon. And I can't thank Annie enough for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank New Girl. Thank you. And thanks to Joe for leaving the show halfway through. It was a better show for it. So for Annie, for New Girl, I'm Trucker Andy saying stay sorry.